All right, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Really excited for today and to introduce you guys to today's guest. We have Amy Dolley, who is in Iowa right now, and really excited for you to meet her. I was on her Instagram page and was really fascinated by the things that she was doing and that we'll share with you today. She is a psychic medium and a shaman, and there's a lot of really cool things. And in a nutshell, is helping people just know more who and what they truly are, and uplifting and inspiring, and all the things that we like to talk about. So without further ado, for me, I want to introduce you guys to Amy. And Amy, if you could share with the audience so they're more familiar with you, who you are, what you do, why you do it, all that good stuff.
Cool. Thank you for having me on. So my name is Amy Dolley, and I am a lifelong psychic medium. I've had these gifts since birth, although it wasn't until my adult years that I started to embrace them and really understand them. I'm a psychic medium. I am a shaman. I am a spiritual teacher and coach as well, because I really feel passionate about spreading the word about awareness and love and the abundance available in the universe. And so I'm doing my darndest to get the message out to everyone. So yeah, I actually just recently went full time with this. I was previously a public school teacher and was trying to do this as a secondary job. And that was just too much. And really my guides just kept pushing me that you are supported, we will take care of you, you are blessed, you can do this. And so I'm trying to get that message out there to the world that, whew, it's a big job, but somebody's got to do it, right?
I love it. I love it. And I find it interesting that, because I like to ask people a lot of times when they kind of have the light bulb switch on to where we remember who and what we truly are, because when we're all babies and we're just unconditional, loving little beings, then we remember it. We know it for sure. And then we tend to forget as we become adults. But you mentioned having these psychic abilities from the time you were a child. That's super interesting. So what are your first, whether it be memories, or was it something that basically your family or the people that were around you just kind of were able to be allowed to evolve into, to where nobody was like, because I notice a lot of times with kids, like what throws off their evolving from the point where we all are unconditional loving little beings. A lot of times adults thinking that they know what's best for the kids and throwing out their evolution, where it's like, sit down, stop playing around, stop making so much noise, stop having so much fun. And the kid's like, wait, I was here to have fun. So they're confused.
Right? Yeah, unfortunately, that is what I experienced. I was seeing and feeling things from a very young age. I can remember I might have been 2, maybe 3 years old, and being in my crib and looking out of my crib in the dark and knowing there was someone standing over there. And my mom was like, you're seeing things, you're imagining things, blah, blah, blah. And so I had these gifts. I always felt I was an old soul. I knew things before other people knew them. I'm very claircognizant, where I just know things, and also clairsentient, where I feel things very strongly, and have always had that gift my whole life, but was always told, nope, there's nothing there, Amy. Look, you can see there's nothing there. And so actually I was not encouraged. In fact, I was suppressed for most of my life. And that is why eventually as an adult, you'll find, if anybody out there is listening and kind of can relate to this, you can kind of stuff down these gifts as long as you want, but they're going to keep coming back. And when they come back, they're coming back stronger and stronger every time, because you have a sole purpose to live here on this earth. And so it was my, it was I was in my 40s. Yeah, I don't feel as old as I am now, to be honest. I'm 47 now, but I was in my early 40s when my gifts started really making themselves apparent again. I had a lot of anxiety and fears and felt very much like trapped in my house. I would go to work and come home and feel like I really couldn't handle being anywhere else. And little did I realize it's because I was picking up the energy and emotions from everybody else. And I didn't know how to protect myself and how to discern which is mine and which is theirs. And there's so many layers to these gifts and how I came to be where I am, to be honest. We could talk for hours about it.
It's so interesting, and it's actually, it gives me, and I, for the audience out there, for you guys that maybe you also have had people tell you, suppressing things, or you've told yourself that you can't do these things, or suppress gifts of yours. It's awesome to know that for human beings, most of the time that is the case. Like, it's never really just a straight, easy line, in life. Like, there's the contrast and challenges are really what, like, I love how you just said each time the gifts came back stronger, which I think a lot of that for us is the contrast and the challenges, just makes the desire for us to be who and what we truly are even stronger as we're experiencing it. Like, when we're in the darkness, like, yeah, we can't feel the light in those moments, but then when we are able to let go and the resistance is no longer there, and then we can flow back into the light, then it feels even stronger, because there's such a difference between that energy and the energy of, the feeling that dark, those challenges. So I love that you said that. That's beautiful. And that gives encouragement to everybody out there that regardless of what life experiences that you've lived up until today, because we're all going to have challenges in different forms in different areas of life. That's created the person that you are today. And, that momentum can carry you towards, no matter how old you are, can carry you towards all of those things that you feel like you're here to do, your sole purpose, like Amy just mentioned. And even if you don't know what that is yet, it's okay. Live more life, because the more life experience that we have, the more clarity that we're going to have as far as the desires and the directions that we want to go. And I love that you mentioned that and just inspired all that out of me just now.
Happy to inspire.
I think everything that you say and all the guests that say is going to inspire something from me, because it's why I love this. It's not something that I would just probably pop into my mind and say if I was by myself. And it's just everything that you just said. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, you're welcome.
So now going, full time with this, which is exciting. And you mentioned being a school teacher, and one thing that I found super fascinating on your Instagram profile when I saw is, and you experienced parts of this while being a school teacher, but I know that you're a coach for children that have these psychic abilities, which I find super interesting. How does that look, and are you able to just notice it, or do they notice you, or how does it all unfold?
Well, it's interesting, but when you're one of us, you tend to be able to pick up who the others are. I just will meet someone and I will know they have gifts, and usually within a few minutes of talking to them, I'm able to pick up what their gifts are. So when I was a school teacher, I had several students who had gifts. Some that, even though I'm not their teacher anymore, I'm still in touch with their moms, and kind of guiding them, trying to help them as much as I can. Um, it's an exciting thing. Like, I think that I was drawn to doing this because I was not supported as a child. And I look back now, and my mom, who's been passed on for a long time, did the best she could with what she knew, right? Like, this was the 70s, and my mom wasn't one of the hippies from the 60s. She was kind of the one that was still very straight and firm, and you get married, you have kids, life is normal, type thing. And so I think that I really just wanted to reach out, because when you are young, you are so close to still being on spirit side, right? Like, you're the closest you're ever going to be to the spirit side and be in human form. And so their gifts are stronger, they're more open, they haven't been closed off yet. And, I think back to, if I had been encouraged when I was 3 and said, "Oh, yeah, tell me more about what you feel over there in the corner. Does it feel good? Does it feel bad?" Because, back then it was all out of fear. And there's so many people who get trapped in their fear, including children, right? Because if we feel something but we can't see it, it's kind of scary. And little kids don't have the words, don't have the emotional maturity to really, like, express themselves and what they're feeling and seeing and experiencing. And so I just felt very called to start pushing myself out there to help, and was encouraged by several other people in the community that if anybody is going to be good at working with the kids, you're the elementary school teacher, right? So I've taught a few classes locally, and I do have people who follow my page that have been interested in having me do like a class online. Because a lot of the people that I work with now, I don't see locally or ever see in person. Just like I'm talking to you today in Miami and I'm in Iowa. I talk to people all over the world, and thanks to my laptop, I can do that. So I'm looking at creating a class to do that. And I have my best friend who is also a psychic medium. And she is a parent of little light workers, 4 of them. And so we team up together, and she really focuses on that parenting side, whereas I talk on with the kids and coaching them on, okay, if you're scared, let's get past the fear. What can you do to protect yourself? There's many people who don't want to have these gifts, and I'm like, you can ignore them, but they're not going to go away. So why not instead embrace them and find out how to protect yourself and what you can do with them to help yourself and help others too? Because it's a pretty amazing gift. It's a pretty amazing gift to be able to talk to spirit side and see all the light there is in the universe, and then to be able to share that with others.
That's awesome. I love that. And I'm so for, because I'm not a parent yet, and maybe I might be inspired to have kids of my own one day. I just know that if I am, then I'm going to allow them to evolve. Like the only time that I'll really get in the way is if they're like going to like run out in traffic, which I don't want the life lesson learned quite that extreme. So other than that though, it's just, and I'm not giving, parenting advice for anybody out there, but it's just how I see, because you just mentioned it, like that's the closest they are from, the spirit side. So I want to learn from them. I want to watch them and feel their energy and, be playful with them, because every time that I am, like, I'm feeling that, that spirit side, call it God, call it love, call it universe, whatever you want to call it, at the same time. So that would be like, I've already decided, like, I just, like, any child that chooses to be my child, I believe that they're choosing us, is going to be allowed to roam free, to enjoy.
That's
and
great to hear. I wish more parents would do that. And I do have to say that the more I meet and talk to other people, the more that's happening now. Back in the 70s when I was a kid, that wasn't happening, but nowadays really people are much more open to there being things that we don't understand and that we can't see and explain, but we feel, and so we know they're real, right? And so I just put this out there that, if you're confused, well, first of all, I always say if you have a kid who has gifts, chances are you have gifts too. Um, and another point on that, we all have gifts, whether we realize it or not. My favorite analogy is, and it's because my husband is a baseball guy, we can all play baseball, but we all can't be Babe Ruth. Okay. So you have to, and how did Babe Ruth get to be who he was? Practice, practice, practice. And that's what you have to do, right? And so that's what I have done. I have innate gifts that I was born with, and they were showing themselves, but I have practiced and taken classes and done training and done work on hundreds of people that have made me who I am today. And I'm still growing and learning. I still have new gifts that are evolving every day. And so for children to like be able to accept who they are now with their gifts, can you imagine where they would be by the time they were my age? Like, they can freaking save our world.
Absolutely. I love that you just said that, because I love sharing with the audience anytime I get a chance that there are no, like, there's no like special breed of human where only they're capable of,
Yeah.
of these things. However, when we're connected with this power, call it God, universe, love, all it is, and then we're flowing it through our life experience, just like we mentioned, practice and study and all of these things. We're flowing that energy through the life experiences when we see all the power that we have. And naturally, there's going to be things that we're more innately drawn to, like, Babe Ruth was drawn to baseball. Somewhere else is like, I would never want to flow my gifts towards baseball. So you're drawn to something else, and which is what makes it so much fun being on a planet with 7.7 billion people, because we're all drawn to different things. And then when we're flowing this energy that is who and what we truly are, which is awesome, that's what makes us connected and makes us the same. But at the same time, we're different expressions of it, because we're all have so many different life experiences. That's what makes sharing this planet with so many people awesome. So I'm so happy that you mentioned that, because You know, not everybody's drawn to wanting to study and learn and to have life experience doing the same things. Like, for instance, there's people that their favorite part of life, like they're fascinated by doing like past life regression, or even
Mhm.
mediumship, connecting with the other side, which is awesome. I'm fascinated by all of it. Personally, that's not those aren't the directions that I'm spending lots of time and focus in, but I'm still
Mhm.
fascinated by it and love having conversations about it and knowing what that person's life experience has caused them to know, because I haven't had that life experience. So I'm super curious. So I love that you said
Oh
that.
yeah. There's so many aspects out there too, and there's so many people who we get kind of the generic label light workers per se. There's so many people who are light workers and consider themselves light workers, but do so many different things. And, you know, when I first started doing this, people were like, well, do we really need more light workers? And I'm like, yes, let's make everybody a light worker, because you know what? We all vibe with people differently. So somebody may come to me and talk to me and say, you're not the right healer for me. You're not the right medium for me. But, oh, hey, wait, I know somebody else you could talk to. And we all help each other, right? Like it's all about just getting the word out and letting people know that there's more than we just see in this three-dimensional reality. So
I love it.
that's my big thing.
I love it. Me too. I love to see the light bulb turn on for humanity, because then now we have the power of choice. And that's all I care about, is like people being able to choose. The only thing that we truly have complete control over is the energy that we're in the moment, like the vibe, the frequency that we're in right here and now. And then from there,
Mhm.
everything's going to reflect from there. And so once that light bulb comes on, then I'm just like fascinated to see what people choose to go do for them. I'm not trying to, you know, manipulate at all what people choose. I mean, even if you choose to, which I'm not advising, but even if you choose to go out there and like body slam someone or slap someone, just know that that energy is not really a loving energy. It's more maybe a rage or anger, and what's going to attract back is probably going to be a match to that, and could lead to
Mhm.
freedom because of it. Could have physical harm done to you. It's just, I'm not surprised if, you know, some challenges come back in return, but I'm not trying to. I just want people to be aware enough to have the choice, and then once you do, then, you know, rooting for everybody to choose something that is fun to them, exciting to them, and fulfilling to them while they're here. So, absolutely.
Exactly.
I love it. Well, question for you, because I'm curious what I asked all this. I asked all the guests this at some point, but you share it the whole time, and everybody shares it the whole time. Just anything that from your life experience and what you become aware of that you want the audience to know, just that could impact their lives in any way. Just anything that's flowing out of you, I would love for you to share.
Right now, the first thing that comes into my mind is my spirit guides come in very strongly, and they say they really want everybody to know that family who has passed on may feel so far away, but they really aren't. They are right here with you. Like when you're thinking about them, that energy, them, they are right there. So, you know, these are just physical vessels, okay? Like this is, my friend calls it a meat sack or a meat suit. This is what I came into. This is where I incarnated this time. But my energy is still always my energy. Whether I'm in this body or I'm in the spirit world, my energy still exists. So your family members who you've lost and you're missing, you can talk to them at any time. Like people get really, oh, but they've been gone, they've been dead 2 years, you know, and I miss them so much. And I'm like, I know you do, but guess what? If you're thinking about them right now, that brings them to you. And so I really want people to know that they have the ability to call that love back to them, and not let them feel so alone. And the reason I brought this up is because during the holiday season, I felt like a collective sorrow. And I'm a very sensitive empath anyway. An empath is a person who can like feel the emotions and the energy of everybody else. I'm kind of like on the high end of an empath, that I feel it, and it's very hard to differentiate whether it's mine or someone else's. And there was a lot of collective sorrow around the holidays this year because a lot of people were really focusing on those who are gone. And I'm there with you guys. My mom is dead. My biological father is dead. My only sets of grandparents I know are passed on. Like most of my family, as far as biological family, are gone. Okay. But I can talk to them at any time. And no, it's not quite the same as getting that hug and having them here with you, but it is a comforting thought. It is good to know that when you're missing them, they're thinking of you and they're right there with you.
I love that. That's so synchronistic that you just brought that up. And this is actually how I ended the last podcast that, you guys will see this the day after. And it's so synchronistic that you just brought this up. When we're wanting to connect with, because when we're thinking about people that we've loved and that have crossed over, when we're thinking about them like, oh, I miss them so much, we can't feel it as much as when we think about the love and the joy that we've had with them. Like any of that connects us because that's where they are now. Like that once we leave these meat suits that you called it, we leave behind all the fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, anger, frustration. And we leave that in the meat suit. That doesn't go with us. So to feel them and to be able to speak with them, like Amy was just mentioning, to be able to feel them truly, all we have to do is be able to connect with the frequency of where they are, which is there with love. So just think about any enjoyable, loving time that you have with them and just full appreciation. I shared this on the last episode also. And anytime someone, even if I've never met them before, crosses over and goes back into the spirit world, I close my eyes and I just think about how appreciative I am for them. Maybe they're a musician. This happens a lot with musicians. And I'll just think about how their music made me feel. And I get goosebumps. A lot of times I actually just got goosebumps just now.
Yeah.
And I just flow so much appreciation to them and just tell them thank you for what you did while you were here. And I know that you're great where you are now, whatever you're choosing to do. And just it feels good to just appreciate because I know that they can feel it and I can feel them. So, so I love that you just mentioned that. That's so synchronistic.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, what are you excited about this year going into, we're in 2020 now, right at the very beginning, and, anything that you want the audience to know that you're up to, or what do you have?
Yeah, actually, so, I left my teaching job, but I'm not done teaching, right? And when I left it, I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? I still have this feeling of sharing the knowledge and like paying it forward. And a friend of mine really encouraged me to take what I have learned as a shaman, as a healer, and start sharing that with others. So I actually just finished my last round of shaman classes and I'm teaching them online. And so I have 6 new shamanic practitioners graduated into the world now. And I really feel like that's a massive part of my soul purpose is to train the healers to help heal the others. And so this is like physical healing, emotional healing, spiritual healing. And so I actually have my next class coming up now that's starting in February, and I'm working on recruiting people for that. And I'm kind of picky. I do interview people and I talk to them and I say, okay, are you ready for this? It's a shamanic work isn't easy, but it's amazing. It really forces you to face your shadow self, which is your dark side, and come to terms with that side of yourself. Learn to love that side of yourself. Learn to accept and honor that side and the messages, the lessons that it's trying to teach you. Um, all of your triggers, where you come from. What are your core wounds? What are your wounds that you've carried with you over other lifetimes? We do things like soul retrievals, where we go back and find bits of our souls that maybe either from this lifetime or another lifetime that have broken off, which is usually during a traumatic event. We bring them back and integrate them into ourselves. It's a heavy course. It gets really heavy, like right around the middle of it. And but it's amazing work because when you come out on the other side, you're not going to have these triggers anymore. I can sit and have a conversation about what was frankly a very hard childhood that I had, for various reasons, and I can sit and talk about it now without being triggered. And it used to be that I would sit and you would ask me about my mom and immediately I would turn into waterworks. And now I can say, these are the lessons I've learned. This is the healing that I have received. And not only have I been able to do that healing for myself, I did that healing for my mom on the other side. I worked with her. I did ancestral healing, going backwards, going forwards. so that any future generations in my family don't have to feel these same things. So it's pretty powerful stuff. And as much as I love doing the psychic medium and the working with gifted children and everything, my shamanism is really like my baby. It's my passion. It's my big passion.
I love that. I'm so happy that you just shared that, and the way that you shared it, so powerful. Anybody out there listening to this, whether live or even if you're hearing this 10 years from now, I'm Amy will still be
I'll still be teaching it, I bet.
Yeah. Definitely any pull, any energetic pull, I'm so pro life experience. And so if I feel any pull towards anything, that is a really great next step on the journey for all of us, because there's some clarity there for you. There's something for you that will propel you further into that or somewhere else on your journey. And so yeah, if you have any pull, definitely contact Amy and connect with her on that. That sounds awesome. I love that. The way you describe that, going, yes, that's definitely.
It's deep work. When I first took my shaman class, I actually took it at a local store, and mine was over the course of a year. And I'm actually doing my class that I'm teaching for people in 10 weeks, so it's pretty intense the way I teach it. But it gets us through it faster, and I really have been pushed by my spirit guides to be like getting them through this work. It's like that push they need. And I will tell you, I was drawn to shamanism and I had no idea why. I just knew I was supposed to take the class. And then when I got in there, it all started to make sense. And a lot of the students in my last class said the same thing. They're like, I don't know why, but I just have always been drawn to this. It's always fascinated me. And not all of them are going on to be practitioners either. The group of sisters that I took my shaman class with several years ago, there's only like two of us who are really practicing. Everybody else just did it as far as the great internal work that it does in cleansing your soul and healing you from the inside out. And so you may have different reasons that you're drawn to the class too. And I say that about my group that just graduated too. There's some of them that I think will be practitioners, and there's some that I think it just really helped them to be a better person.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Let's see if anybody has any questions, Amy, for us. I'm going to look on
Okay.
Facebook and see if anybody, you have them, ask them now on my Facebook or Amy's. We will answer.
Yes, I'll go look on mine and see if anybody's commenting on mine.
Nobody's seen me do a live forever, so they're like, wait.
Yes.
I'll be doing this more and more, guys, because why not?
Oh, I do have one question on my page.
Awesome.
From Kelly. If Kelly's still watching, it says, "How did you determine what abilities to work on or what to do with them?" And Kelly, that's a great question. I worked on what came up first for me, and I had a lot of abilities coming forward at the same time. I will not lie. I had the psychic medium stuff. I had the healing stuff. I have always had a natural healing ability. I've had the thing with psychic kids, and really, spirit brought forward for me what I needed to work on first. And it ended up being the healing. Even though like my medium gifts were developing at the time, I really focused on being a shaman first and learning that. And I had actually taken Reiki classes, and so I had started on that path, but I really just kind of listened to what was most important, because you can't do it all at the same time. Like, your brain will explode. Like, really, spirit gives you what you can handle when you can handle it. And I thank God that they're watching out for me for that, because I was just like, tell me more, tell me more. I want to know it all right now. But our brains are not programmed to like understand all of this. So over the course of the last 4 or 5 years, I focused on shamanism, and then past that, then I started working with psychic children, and then past that, then I really started working on my gift as a medium. Like, I was saying I was a medium and I knew I could do it, but I wasn't very fast. It took me longer, and now it's it's different. You practice it. It's like a muscle. You train that muscle and you practice and you get going. So really, that's how I did it, Kelly. I just picked what was coming forward fastest, and for me it was the healing. It was the inner healing I needed to do, and then the healing that I was supposed to share outwards with the world as well. So good question.
Great question. And I love the advice that you just gave. And I want to piggyback on something, because I love how you just, it's just such great advice for the audience listening, not to try to, you don't need everything right here and now. And there's probably some
Yes.
part of it, like if you're inspired to learn about different things, there's probably one right now that there's more of an energetic pull towards, and it's a really
Yes.
great one to start with. What I've noticed in life is, like, things that I'm doing today, there were things that I was excited to pursue 10 years ago that I'm using now, and I had no idea what I was going to be doing now. So, like, you'll use all these things in different ways, and then you'll evolve and be inspired and do new things. But it's cool because the things that we're creating today are just from all those different life experiences. So, we can be excited to, flow our energy and whatever, get the life experience, get the clarity, continue on that way, or we can go and start learning some other stuff, but you still have now these other areas of life that you've developed that you can incorporate into what you're doing now. So I love that description. That's great. That's awesome.
And you can't, our brains literally cannot handle knowing all of it all at the same time, right? Like, my poor brain as it is, like when it was trying to catch up to, okay, I do this now. Okay. I mean, it's a lot. So when you're going forward, just take it one step at a time, guys. Whatever you feel most drawn to, go to that first, for sure.
And we all have an extra brain that we can supplement until we're ready to focus really on that thing. And it's called the smartphone in our pocket. That's the extra,
right.
that's the extra brain that we all have.
I know.
This is fun. I'm excited that we're having this conversation. This is a conversation
I am too.
I would have wanted to have with you anyway. And I'm just happy that we can share it with the audience and that it'll impact people. And well, awesome, Amy. If there's anything else that is pouring out of you that you want to share, I'll leave the last word with you. But I really appreciate you, and happy that we connected now. So much fun in life. And for everybody out there, be super excited that we share this planet with 7.7 billion people, because at any time, any day, any moment, we can become aware of someone that right before then we didn't even know existed on the planet, and lived all this life. I've lived all this life. And then all of a sudden, when two people's energy are, in the same place, same time, and focused on each other, we can create things like this awesome conversation. And we can do that, online, we can do that offline. And I'm just very appreciative that we can do that right now in 2020. We live in an awesome time.
Yes, we do. I love that. Now I think back to the shamans back in the days where they could only help their village, and it makes me feel so much, I can't even think of the right word. It makes me feel like more whole, that I am able to, I'm not limited by where I live. I'm not limited by the region anymore. People are like, oh, well, you're in Iowa, you can't help me. Get on your computer, get on your phone, get on your tablet. Heck, I have done healings for people around the world just through the computer, because energy is energy. And as long as I have your permission, I can tap into it anywhere. And all healers, all psychic mediums can do that. So, just because you feel like limited by where you live, still reach out, because there are still people available that can and will help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you, Amy, for sharing your beautiful energy with us today. It's been so much fun for me, and the audience appreciates this. And you've inspired the people that have been on here live with us, and I know that you'll inspire more people as this episode goes out. And just really appreciate you sharing the time. And you're awesome. I'm happy to know you now and see what you choose to create as you're evolving and allowing yourself to flow in all the places that you're flowing in. It's really cool to see. I'm appreciative of you.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel, it's not an accident that we met and we're talking now. So here's to happy accidents, right?
Absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you guys out there for tuning into another episode of Enlightened Conversations. Definitely share this episode with anyone that popped into your mind while listening. There's no coincidence. Was a happy accident.
Happy accidents, yeah. But there's really no accidents, but I say it's still a happy accident.
it makes you even know that it's not an accident by saying the happy part, because it's just kind of smile, and you have to say it like in a fun, playful way.
Sure.
Definitely rate and review this, and subscribe if you're not already. And appreciate you guys out there for making it easier for people to find these beautiful episodes. And excited to keep sharing and meeting cool people like Amy, and sharing more love and light with all of you guys. So have an amazing day whenever you're hearing this, and we will talk with you soon. Sending positive vibes to you all. Awesome. So much fun, Amy.
Yes, thank you. That was great.
Yeah, that was awesome. I knew we'd have a great conversation.